Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans is an anime I decided to watch because, one, it was in its own Gundam timeline, and two, more importantly, it was recommended to me after the original Gundam 79 episode ended up going up. It is about a group of child soldiers who are working for a mercenary company who end up rebelling against their captors and taking over the mercenary company and their job to escort a woman named Kudelia to Earth so that she can negotiate better treatment of the people of Mars from the organization Gallarhorn, who ends up controlling a large amount of power in the solar system after the events of a large war that happened like 70 years ago. Now, I'm not going to pretend like you didn't see the color of the thumbnail or can't look in the bottom left corner. So you already know where this review is going, so I'm just going to set the stage by starting off talking about what I actually liked about the show. Okay, well, now that that's done, let's talk about what I didn't like about the show. My number one issue with the show is simply that I found it incredibly boring, but I'm going to elaborate on why I found it boring, because I do know why. So, first off, the plot is incredibly basic and generic, right? It's basically a journey story. Escort person A to location B. That is the basic idea of it. And the way journey stories are usually told is they'll either flush them out with important character interactions, or you'll be able to see some fantastic shit on the journey. This doesn't do either of that. If you want to say that the combat sequences are the exciting things that are supposed to happen on the journey, I would disagree, because I found the combat in this wildly uninteresting, partially because of the characters, which we will get into, but also partially because of the fact that often the characters will do these like suicidal tactics, and only once are you ever given the danger of the tactic, technically twice right at the very end, but that doesn't really matter. And so the tension doesn't have time to build. Often they'll point out how dangerous what they've just done is, or how crazy or how smart it was after it's already been executed. So the tension never really has time to build in the combat, because by the time you would be worried about the character's safety, the danger has already passed. The entire show suffers from that. Another massive issue is the lack of engagement with the characters. But again, we'll get right back to that. I will also say, this is a minor nitpick, that I do not like the mobile suit designs in this. They seem so large and clunky, and it seems like some of the mobile suits are just wielding rectangles at some points, like just straight boxes that they're stabbing each other with. They look ridiculous. Not that I was a particular fan of the 79 designs, but like somehow I think this is worse than the original designs. Now, I could be swayed to be interested in sort of the politics, but it's not so much as the focus of the show. They do talk about it at points, but when they do, it's usually just exposition dump, exposition dump, exposition dump, all at once. And if you don't really get the time to settle for the intrigue or how the groups are going up against each other, especially because Gallarhorn basically has all of the power. So really, it's just characters attempting to outdo Gallarhorn, and then Gallarhorn has some secret plans in the background. Often based around the character of McGillis, I want to say his name is. I barely care who any of these people are. So he has his machinations, and he basically steamrolls the whole politics and the intrigue plot of this entire thing. You can't carry an intrigue plot with one person. And then there's the guy they try to get elected to parliament, and I guess there's some political angles to that, but really it's the characters were there to negotiate with him, and then they negotiate with him. So there's nothing going on plot-wise. It's basically get character A to point B. That is the entire plot. So then it comes to the characters, and this is where the show loses me entirely. Because of the mercenaries, they are all the same person. they have family members, usually siblings, and this ties into the central theme of Iron-Blooded Orphans, which is found family. Many characters have living family members, but usually those family members will often end up betraying them or fucking them over in some ways, except for Biscuit's sister, who are completely irrelevant. And so the major focus is put on the mercenary company, I want to say Takeda, I genuinely don't care, who are the found family that everyone is coming together, forming their family based on the ideas implanted to them by a gangster with like 100 wives, who keeps his children on his ship. But the characters just follow whatever the leader says. They don't have any goals. They don't have any motivations. They really don't even have personalities. They're all the same interchangeable character. The only real exception is the leader of the organization. Orga is kind of a character in that there are conflicts where he sometimes doubts himself and then sometimes doesn't, and that's bad usually when he's not doubting himself, and it's usually bad when he is doubting himself. He just can't get the time to doubt himself and the time to not doubt himself correctly. And then there's Mikazuki, who pilots the Barbatos Gundam, and he's awful, and the show seems to think he's so fucking cool. Like, the show is dedicated to stroking his dick, but like, he has no real discernible personality. He just goes along with whatever Orga wants. He's got this like cool, calm demeanor, but he, like every other member of the organization, has no motivations outside of whatever the fuck the leader says. And he always wins. He's almost like a Mary Sue, honestly, because like he always wins in every combat encounter. You never feel like he's in any danger. He's the best Gundam pilot. He's so cool. He's the best at piloting, and when you're in danger, he comes out of nowhere and saves you. It's fucking eye-rolling, honestly. Most of the characters are incredibly bland. There's basically no character arc outside of, we're a family now, and then they're a family throughout the rest of it. Again, except for Orga, who I will say, when it comes to McGill's and Orga, I do have to say that my opinions changed over the course of the series, because for 99% of the show, I didn't give a shit about them, and then in the last few episodes, my opinions did change, because Orga has decided to take his group of mercenary children on multiple suicide pushes directly into Gallarhorn forces, and said a line like, well, it doesn't really matter who lives or dies because we're a family. And then like all of the rational adults on the team are like, this is fucking stupid. What are you talking about? And he's like, we're doing it anyway. You just don't understand. And then like a bunch of children die. And he's like, oh, what? How could that have happened? Oh, man. Like, yeah, they told you, dipshit. My opinion of Orga changed too. I don't like fucking Orga. Mikazuki is awful. He's just a fucking Mary Sue that the show thinks is so fucking cool it can't stop stroking his dick. And then there's McGill's, who's like an antagonist, but he ends up secretly being on the hero's side, but he's also fucking terrible. He, like I said, he can't carry an intrigue plot by himself. No one can. That's not how intrigue plots work. But he also, in the show, where the central themes are about found family, goes out of his way to deliberately betray all of his friends and family and directly, intentionally lead to their deaths. So he's fucking awful, and I hate him. I hate all of the characters. I hate the Gundam designs. I hate the combat. I hate the plot line. There is one redeeming factor. I do like Cordelia eventually, because her idea is she's trying to negotiate for peace on Mars, and then somewhere around episode 14, they get together with what is basically a labor union, and then they end up getting shot to shit by Gallarhorn, and she goes through this sort of like character development where like, she's like, I'm gonna lead this fucking revolution, and I'll do it by myself if I have to. She gains this like sort of like cool revolutionary leader persona from that point on, and that's awesome, and that lasts for like 4 episodes, and then she basically disappears from the show and only pops in and out, and then it just becomes the Orga Mikazuchi McGill's show again. Delightful. I definitely did not have a good time with this. Twitch and Discord in the description. I've been Sacrobolic. You're Envoy of Hope. Bye-bye.